Okay, day 26, brand new video here, and I'm winging it. I hope it's day 26. If it isn't, I'll have to change the video and you will see what day it really is. But if this says day 26, then you know I got it right. Anyway, today is yesterday and the day before, it was colder than a mother-in-law's kiss. It was -2 the day before yesterday. It was -9, no, -10 last night. But when I decided that I was going to work on tenacity yesterday and the day before. And so I did push-ups in the snowbank outside in my swimming trunks. I got a video, 2 past videos of each day. And what I did when I did those push-ups, I realized in the snow I didn't have good form. So after I did the push-ups in the snow, I came inside and did push-ups on the first day. On the second day, I did the push-ups first. And the second video I produced, I did the one where I was outside and I did the push-ups. Now I did the push-ups at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I did the first video when I was doing push-ups here like at 5 in the morning, but I didn't post the second video until last night at midnight because I bought a new phone. This is a new phone, the new camera, new everything. So I was gonna go get a new battery, but I wound up getting a whole new phone. You know the deal. Anyway, so nouveau, new day, 26th day of push-ups. I'm going to now do those push-ups now. I don't think I'm gonna get outside and do them in the snow. It's 28 degrees today. It's gonna seem like summertime outside, although I haven't been outside yet. I've been working on things on the computer. And yesterday and the day before I worked on tenacity, because this is the GaryVee book that I'm reading, and this is the one that suggested that I do push-ups for 55 days straight. And so, and post it to social media. Well, I have social media accounts, but I never really posted anything on them. The only thing I just started posting things on YouTube. So that's why this whole process goes on the way it is. I've been trying to practice self-awareness and try to be accountable today. And gratitude, always gratitude. And I have been praying for my niece. If you've seen any of the past videos, you understand that my niece by marriage, who's been divorced from our family, her mom went into the hospital and with COVID-related pneumonia. And they live in Colorado Springs, but they finally moved her to a better facility to help her in Denver. And she's doing better. There was a time there we were really worried, but I pray every waking moment. I think about her, and she just texted me today, and she had my nephews there with her, and they sent me a picture, and it was really wonderful, heartwarming. So I sent them a little video, telling them I love them, and it was very nice. So, honest to God, I am not stalling. But I just want to share some things. When you have little wins, you got to share it. And this book is very good. And tenacity, curiosity, patience. Basically, well, I don't know if I should go into this. Yeah, I'm going to this right now because I've been also listening to Tom Bilyeu and Brandon Bouchard, and I thought I would take classes with them. But then Casey Neistat came out with a class that's a one-time payment, and it's not an recurring thing. Like a subscription, and that seemed to be a better fit for me right now because I do want to learn editing and do videos. In fact, the class starts 2 days from now on Monday, so I have to concentrate on that, and I can't have these subscriptions to do other stuff and concentrate on them at the same time. So I canceled the other 2. I'm trying to be really focused and trying to really look at flow, and I think I kind of stumbled on something. Purpose in life, meaning that everybody says you want your purpose, you want to do good things, you want to, how did they say it? You just, the end goal, all those things. But I really do think the more I hear about flow, what flow is, and that it's the happiest state you can be on, and the most satisfying state you can get into. I suddenly thought to myself, that sounds like the layman's or the working man's version of enlightenment. And then I got to thinking, You know, if you're in the state of flow, you don't really think about time. You don't really think about your existence. You don't really judge yourself. You're just in doing the work and you're learning, and usually want to find something that's a little bit overwhelming at first. You don't think you can do it, but then you concentrate and you're kind of working through it and you're learning as you go. And there's really no, you know, sometimes you feel like time is really speeding up and sometimes you feel like time is completely slowing down, but you're in the present moment. And it's like maybe, just maybe, that's what people who are in flow, like extreme athletes, or Brady when he wins a Super Bowl, or I think it's possible for someone to be in flow who's on the opposite team and losing. As long as you're doing the best you can do and you have the mental aptitude. And the difference between an extreme athlete who's in flow or in a working man who's in flow is, and not that much between them. It's the process. The process is what gives you the satisfaction. So really is, the journey is the thing. But if you're in a state of flow, I think the difference between someone who is in the state of flow or gets into the state of flow and then gets out of the state of flow and a person who's enlightened is maybe the enlightened person is in flow all the time. Whether they're running a race, whether they're just cooking a meal, whether they're arguing with someone, they choose to argue with someone, or they choose to get angry, or they choose not to. I think the enlightened person is, or depending on how enlightened they are, the more enlightened they are, the more that they're in flow in every aspect of their life. And so it really doesn't matter what you do. It really doesn't matter if you get good or bad, or it just matters that you enjoy the journey. And, you know, Tom Bilyeu says this, and I believe it. He says, it really doesn't matter what goes on in the world as long as how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. But I think there's another level above that now. I didn't before, but if you're, because I'm learning about flow. When you're in a state of flow, or when you're enlightened, there is no self. And there's just doing. There's just existing. And Sarguru and Muji, they all talk about it. And I'm sure that language has a way of messing people up, because language can't describe what people experience. You can't describe to someone what it's like to learn how to ride a bike if they've never ridden a bike. You can tell them how wonderful it is. You can tell them how marvelous it is. You can tell them all the attributes you can do better when you're riding a bike. But if they see you wreck, if they see you have problems, if they see the learning process and they don't want any part of it, or if they don't feel comfortable in it, or they're always looking at themselves, or they think they can't ever make it because they fail, I mean, then it becomes arduous and terrible and they don't like it. But again, learning how to ride, it's indescribable. It's indescribable. You can't describe it with words. Because I remember when I first was learning how to ride a bike, I felt that it was like I was like 5 or 6 years old. So my neighbor kid, my dad paid the neighbor kid to teach me. He was like 2 years older than me. Anyway, he got me, I was on training wheels and I leaned to one side and I felt how the bike went and I could feel him holding me. Well, I remember one time though, I did it on my own without the training wheels and everything. In fact, he said, jump on the bike and drive. And I said, no, I'll. He said, no, you won't fall. I said, okay, well, I just got on the bike and I started pedaling. And it was like suddenly I was floating. I didn't feel the lean of anything. And there's a couple of times in my life I felt like that. I felt like I was floating when I was singing, and I was singing on pitch with a group for the first time. And I've trained being a singer since that time. But when I first really started singing, I remember I couldn't really hear my voice in the group, and I felt like we were all just floating. And it felt that same way when I started juggling. I always juggled and couldn't fit, but when I finally got 3 going at once, and there was always one in the air, it kind of felt like everything was light and moving. That was like just a glimpse of flow. And so that's what the ancients say. They say, before enlightenment, chopping wood. No, before enlightenment, stacking wood and hauling water. but after enlightenment, stacking wood and hauling water. It's the same stuff. And everybody says, they have their job that they dislike and all this, but Jay Shetty was talking with Tom Bilyeu today. I saw an interview. It was probably done a while ago. It was a compilation that I can't think of the word now. I've got pressure on me because the camera's rolling. Compilation of different clips that came out new, but the interviews were old, but the way he fashioned it, he made something new out of it. Anyway, it says, become genius is what the thing was. But one of the things he was talking about on there with Jay Shetty is that he says when he was a monk, he would clean the monastery. And instead of just looking at this as a mundane job, something you have to do, he started to bring in his unique passion and what this meant to him. And he describes other people as saying there was a girl that she was doing a disgusting job at a hospital, or what could be considered a disgusting job, but she looked at it as that was her way of giving to everyone and her way of caring and showing and stepping up what would be a normal mundane job, but bringing something extra special to it. And so that's what Jay Shetty did at the monastery. He would, in fact, look at the monastery when he polished these inordinate. Oh God, I can't figure out the words. God, I'm these very nice, beautiful statues and ornate lamps or whatever he was cleaning and polishing, and then floors he was cleaning. He would look at it as if he was cleaning his life, or cleaning his own heart, is what he said. And so when he did that, he says once you clean out, he cleaned the monastery, and then you realize that once you clean the monastery, well, it's dirty again. You got to clean out. So your heart is the same way. So once you realize it's really not what you do, it's your attitude when you do it, then it makes life easier. You don't look at yourself. And so then the fact of winning and losing or failing or what you do or how you do doesn't matter, because you build your passion. You build your confidence. You build what you care about and what you do. And you become good by little incremental steps, and you become so good that people can't ignore you, and then you get expertise. At least that's my thought. And we'll see, I'm gonna try. That's what I do. That's what I'm doing now. I'm 66 and a half years old, as I've said in all the other past things that you've seen, and I don't know how to edit yet. And I'm not very good at videos yet, but it means I can, in fact, try. And your self-speech makes a big difference in this. How my self-speech makes a big difference in this whole process. I remember when I was an actor, there were times, every time when I was an actor, I would go and I would audition for something and I would get a role. And first when I auditioned, I'd think, well, I probably didn't get it, but sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but I got it. And then when I get into the group and we do the first read through, I am a terrible reader, but it always made me nervous because I was read so bad. But then I got to where, who cares? I got the job. Just play with it. And I got to be pretty good at readings because I didn't worry about it, because it was just the first day and the first process, and I would get better. And the good thing about a play, or maybe even a movie, I would think, I've not been in many movies, but the thing is if you haven't done it in a while, you have a director right there directing you. And he might say something embarrassing to you, like your fly's open, and you're saying that like you're a little girl, but you don't take it to heart, because how terrible if he wasn't there and you filmed the movie, or you did it in front of millions of people and your fly was open and you did sound like a little girl, and you were not supposed to sound like a little girl. Now, if it's a movie and you're supposed to sound like a little girl, then he's not going to argue with you. But I remember I wanted to be an actor, and I wanted to work and be famous actor, and then I figured that in the end I could take care of my family and do wonderful things. Well, that never really happened. But it was also, did I really want to be that? Because when I really looked at it, and I really was an actor for 10 years, and I made a living at it, but barely. And I was alive in live theater, and I was a non-union actor. But I worked. But the thing is, if you're famous, you have control over certain things. But when you're just a basic, hardworking character actor like I am, or I get leads in certain roles, but mainly a character actor, and mainly supporting parts, but still not in the chorus. But even if you're in the chorus, when you're an actor, you have a playwright that writes the words. You have if it's a musical, you have a musical director that tells you kind of how to sing it, and helps you in that way. You have a director that tells you where to move, and sometimes the emotion he wants, and if you're off that. And then you have people who light you. But basically, if you just follow directions, it's not really that creative. You have to be in the present moment. You have to be real, and you have to practice the craft, the words, so much to where you don't even think about them. And you have to be in the moment of what that character is doing and feeling, and then you just become that character. And you focus, and if something does happen out of the ordinary, well, that's where you separate the really good people from the bad ones, so people don't know it, or you can kind of think a little bit ahead. But when you're on stage, you're thinking about, okay, what's my next line? What's my do? I'm feeling this, or I'm in the present moment. I've been told to do this. But when suddenly something out of the ordinary happens, it's like, holy cow, now what? You have to bring yourself in to accommodate it or make a change, or somebody gets sick or something like that. That's when it's a little more challenging. But all in all, if you just follow the directions, and some people think you're great and some people think you don't. And it's funny, but when you have a good show or a bad show, you really aren't a good judge of it. It's really what the audience thinks. And the audience most of them may not want to be there that day. Most of them may not even like the subject, but they were drugged there. And other people have never seen a play before, think it's going to be terrible, and they go, and it is for them. But others, they've never been to a play before, they go, and they're just absolutely amazed. They have no idea that it was so cool. So it's like a football game. You may win the game, and there's half the people there are happy that you win the game, and half the people there are unhappy that you won the game. And half of them think that, or a certain percentage think that you had a good game. And people think that their team had a bad day and they could have beat you if, it's all perception. And that's what I'm learning. So anyway, I'm yakking away, but I'm going to do something physical now, because that's another thing. Even though I do a lot of mental stuff and a lot of that, it's still a biological experience. Tom Bilyeu says that you're having a biological experience. Your awareness, that isn't a meat sack, that is having a biological experience. Wrap your head around that. Anyway, back to the push-ups. See what I can do. These are late in the day. Okay, 37, but I hope that's 60. I tried to do 60. I don't know if it's gonna be enough. I think at 31, I got a little ahead of myself, so I repeated 31 again. So if I did get ahead of myself, I should have done 60. If I didn't get ahead of myself, I did 61, which is better. But I don't want to get to where I'm thinking I have to keep upping that. I think 55 right now, when I'm doing 35 push-ups, is okay. If I start doing 50 push-ups, then maybe I can get a little more. It's just that with push-ups, you have resistance, you have your body weight. And I think I'm gonna start wearing a backpack and put books in it at first. And then after I do that, I might put some 1 or 2 pounds of weights in there. That way I bring it back down. I'm not doing so many weight reps, and I'm building up the muscles a little faster. At least that's an idea. And I can work on my form, because I know when I get tired after doing so many reps, my form, I watch these videos and my form gets bad. Exhale. Seems to get rid of the carbon monoxide and I don't pant as much. Anyway, yeah, that's it. This is the video I have. Usually I make a video when I wake up and I work nights. And so this is about the time that I would be, it's about an hour earlier than when I would wake up. It's like 2:30 now. I usually don't get up that early when I work. I usually get up like at 3, sometimes 4, but most of the time around 3. Try to come home and go to bed right away. Anyway, but today is a day off. Yesterday was a day off. I slept at night. But again, my night sleeping gets off. I went to bed like at 7 because I was tired. I couldn't keep my eyes awake. And then I woke up at 2. And yeah, I just, you get up in the middle of the night a lot of times because you eat at different times and your blood sugar's off. So, and I'm 66 and a half years old, so I pee a lot. I have a swollen prostate, but I am working on yoga poses and I'm working on exercises and a diet to see if I can make that better and mitigate it. All of the medical professionals say you can't, you have to work on, you have to have medicine. And then once you take off the medicine, it doesn't work. I don't really believe that because I can feel myself with diet. It definitely changes things. So anyway, I'm just rambling about all this stuff because this is what I'm dealing with. I am showing that I can learn, I can always grow, I can always enjoy life and the process, and that's what I need to do. I need to get really good at reading, writing, and spelling, and I've never been good at those things. So I'm not good at those things yet, but I can learn, and I am learning, and I'm getting in the process and the swing of things, and I can get into flow and shorten that learning process, because that's what flow does. Also, it does a lot of things that enlightenment does. And I have never heard anybody say that. So I'll leave it at that, my opinion. And maybe someday my opinion will coincide with the group think. Anyway, that's it for now. Brand new phone, brand new day. This is day 26. If it isn't, I have to do this whole fucking video over again. Anyway, bob out. Bye.